What's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talked about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right. So we know two extremely important pieces to a franchise are the head coach and the quarterback, and they got to be on the same page if you want to be successful. They don't necessarily have to get along very well, but they got to be on the same page and agree on what the direction is that they want to go. Just so happens that our head coach and our starting quarterback really are very fond of one another. And Pete Carroll sat down for an interview and talked extensively about his relationship and how he feels about GENO SMITH. But before we get to that, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support this channel. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to help support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video, which, of course, I do appreciate. Now, we got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and get to this video interview with Pete Carroll. So we all know that the Raiders traded for GENO SMITH, sending a third rounder to Seattle, getting GENO SMITH back. Recently, he was extended for 2 seasons, so he's going to be with the Raiders for 3 years under contract through the 2027 season. What does that say? Well, if you're Pete Carroll and you have a 3 with a 4th year option, you're pretty much saying GENO SMITH is going to be my guy, right? And if you're getting that vote of confidence to somebody, you really have to be extremely confident in not only his abilities to play football, but also his ability to lead the team and really lead this culture from the player's perspective. You got a couple of really big players and really big personalities as far as leadership go, and Maxx Crosby on the defensive end, and now GENO SMITH on the offensive end. I really do feel it's going to be a great step forward for the Raiders and GENO SMITH, and of course for Pete Carroll, because look, man, as much as we love Pete Carroll, he was canned a couple years ago out of the blue. I really do think that he was very surprised about this, and all reports were that Pete Carroll really fought for his job, which is why he was kept on in a consulting capacity, even though he was fired from a head coaching job. He wants to make sure that he leaves his legacy saying, look, it was wrong for Seattle to fire me. I did have a lot left in the tank. I did have a lot left to give, and I can turn another franchise around in the Las Vegas Raiders. And the guy he selected to do that was GENO SMITH. So let's go ahead and forget all this talk and get to the interview with Pete Carroll talking about GENO SMITH.
We haven't talked since you guys acquired GENO SMITH. How'd that all kind of come about, and what do you feel like he gives the Raiders?
Yeah, well, getting GENO was a really important part of this puzzle, putting it together. And, you know, we've had really a rich background, you know, and it's really important to me because I know what we can count on. We have a guy that's such a great worker. He's grown so much through his career, been through so much and overcome so much. I love the way he approaches the game. He's serious, he's competitive, works his tail off, you know, and he's a great leader in that regard. He leads the guys by the way he takes to the game. And man, he's talented, you know, really talented. And so I think the GENO story is worth mentioning. You know, the guy sat for almost 6 years, you know, and in that time, one, he didn't get the wear and the tear, so that's why he moves so well. He runs really well still. But he took to the game in a manner that was very impressive. He was able to, one day after another, take it like the very next play I'm playing. And I watched him for the 4 straight years when he wasn't playing, just never missed that opportunity to be focused in that manner. I mean, it's just ridiculously impressive, you know. So anyway, when he finally played, look what he's done. He's had 3 winning seasons, and he's a tremendous completion guy. He's durable, he's tough. So we're really, really fortunate to have him.
You saw him as a backup for, like you said, a few years. Did you ever feel like he was content just being that, or was he?
No, that's what I'm telling you. No, yeah. I'm telling you. It came through from early on that he was going to approach it with the thought that he is going to play the next play. And he's playing behind Russ, and Russ was in the middle of his career and doing great. And he realized what the situation was, but he never bought into it, never gave into it. And that's what's so impressive about it.
How does getting GENO SMITH change the draft approach? Do you see, is there still a possibility of taking a quarterback as high as the first round?
Yeah, we've got we're building, you know, always, you know, so taking GENO is an immediate fix for us. It's going to last us. We're going to get a number of years from GENO at his very best. He's as healthy and ready to go. He's as tuned in as he's ever been. But that doesn't mean that we don't see a guy. There's some guys coming out that have got tremendous potential, and we'll just take a look at each spot and the opportunity that's presented and the choices that we have. But we're not excluding taking any position at this point.
What do you GENO trade? Could you just talk about how it all came together and when it started to seem like that was a realistic possibility?
I'll tell you that. It was one of the options that I was hoping would be available, and when we talked right from the beginning, there was a number of options of who we could go to a quarterback to kind of start the program up, and GENO was prominent in my mind because I knew exactly what we're getting, and GENO and I have a tremendously long, in-depth relationship. Talked to him all throughout, this year. At times, you'd be surprised how much we were just communicating and stayed in touch, and really, it's about me supporting him and hoping for the best. And so when it came around time when we could finally get to it, it was an automatic that we would take a shot at it. And fortunately, Seattle was willing to listen, and John Spytek did his first big-time deal, and he pulled it off exactly in the manner that we wanted to, and so gave us a great kickstart to what's going on.
A couple of years ago, you called him one of your all-time favorite guys. What all went into that?
It's because of the way he approached his life and his world in football with such tremendous consistency and commitment. The conviction to be, I'm telling you, I said it earlier, but to realize that a guy every day knew that it was one snap away from playing. That's kind of how we thought. And as he did it, he showed who he was, and it was most revealing. And he's such a great competitor. That's always the first thing I get attracted to. He never backed off, and so when he finally got the chance, he's freaking comeback player of the year. Well, how much? The only thing he could have done better was win the whole thing, and he did his part. And I'm thrilled to be working with him. I can't wait to get going.
How do you expect this to impact the culture of what you're building in Vegas now?
Yes. How do I expect? I expect to do it really well.
GENO specifically, how bringing GENO in, what do you think he'll do?
That's one aspect of it. Getting Max signed for a long term to show the commitment to one of the great competitors in the game was one step of it. Getting GENO was a step on the other side of the ball to make it clear we're not sitting around and waiting to see what happens and hope things will turn out. We're going to proactively go after it. John and I are committed to making that happen in every choice, in every turn, every step of the way, all the way through this whole process. And as this offseason keeps taking its shape, we're going to be about that mentality, and that is what is creating, your cultures. It's making statements of who you are on a regular basis, what you stand for on a regular basis, that will eventually be understood as what this culture is.
Peter, times now where quarterbacks are kind of getting second chances. GENO with you in Seattle, Sam Darnold, Baker. What do you think goes into kind of helping those guys have success in that second chance opportunity?
In the first chance of it, you got to figure out who they are, and you figure out what they bring, what they offer at that opportunity, that time in their life, and then try to maximize that. And it's no different. It's the next step, and the next chance you get another guy, and you bring a guy in that's been around or whatever, you got to figure out who they are. It isn't any different in any aspect of my program. I got to know everybody in this program. I got to figure out who they are, what makes them extraordinarily unique, and then see how we can celebrate that uniqueness by the way we position them and ask them to do what they do. And so it doesn't matter whether it's a young guy or an old guy or where they come from.
Wow, man, you can really tell from the interview that Pete Carroll really does have a lot of fond feelings for GENO Smith, not only as a person and a player, but a leader and a culture setter for an organization. It was kind of dicey for a while with that whole let Russ cook nonsense happening, and a lot of people having to bite their tongues that were with the Seattle Seahawks. But a lot of former Seahawks were kind of like, dude, this is what happened here, and this is what Russ was like. To get rid of all that stench off of you, GENO Smith had to go in there and be the man. Everyone was kind of side-eyeing that move when it really happened. Like, yo, man, you're getting rid of a former Super Bowl winning champion quarterback. You're shipping him away to Denver, and you're getting GENO Smith to be your starter. But Pete Carroll saw what a lot of people didn't see. The fact that he was prepared every single play, even though he wasn't going to play. The fact that he was a great leader on the bench to make sure everyone stayed engaged and involved. The way that people followed him and people thought he was rightly should have been the starting quarterback even when Russ was on the team. Look, guys, there's a lot of debate on the message boards and in Raider Nation of if the brass made the right decision with the quarterback position. All I got to say is this. The people who have skin in the game, the people who have their jobs on the line, trust GENO SMITH to be that dude. That's the reason why they signed him to the contract that they did. He's under contract for 3 years. Just so happens these guys have 3 years to make something happen. Now, I don't think that they're going to wait for 3 years to start winning. I think they want to win right away, which is what the team is trying to do with some of these moves, getting good players in, and GENO SMITH is definitely one of them. Pete Carroll has a lot of faith in him, and because I have a lot of faith in Pete, I have a lot of faith in GENO too. All right, guys, that's my time for today. Go ahead and let me know what you think about the video in the comments below. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It's a great way to support. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to help support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching the video. All right, guys, that's my time. Until next time, everybody, peace. Hey, Raider Nation, thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button, drop a comment, make sure to subscribe, and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.